Hey, what's up guys, this is Skyforce95 here, reviewing new Trent Airbender Star keyboard case for the iPad Air and Air 2. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my unboxing video. As usual, the link will be in the description. So I'd like to begin by saying that I'm pretty accustomed to new Trent's Bluetooth keyboard cases because I have previously owned 3. Their very first original Airbender case for the iPad 3rd and 4th generation, and then they made a reiteration of that one, the Airbender 1.0, and then they made another one for the iPad Airs, which is called the 3.0. So here is the Airbender Star, which is a completely different take on their Bluetooth keyboard design, where instead of having that previous rotatable back and a detachable stand, this is more geared towards business users in that it mimics pretty much the form of a laptop. So first off, let's go ahead and talk about the design. As with the previous iterations of the Airbender, it is in a matte black finish. It is primarily made out of plastic, but the hinge is metal, which is good since that is the highest wear area. This particular design, as I mentioned before, turns your iPad into a business-like laptop. It's reminiscent of many Android and Windows convertibles out today. However, this is not the lightest of keyboard cases, but it doesn't add a significant amount of weight either. Though I did notice that it does have a slightly bigger footprint than the previous Airbender, the Airbender 3.0, with the swivel rotating design because of that additional height from the hinge. But honestly, after using it, it wasn't such a big deal. Since the iPad Airs are significantly less heavy than previous iterations, this whole setup is much less top heavy. To start typing with your iPad, all you have to do is open it up like you would with any clamshell designed laptop, and then you can pull out the metal stand in the back to balance the keyboard. The metal hinge as well as the metal stand are both friction based, so there is slight resistance when you're moving it, which is good, otherwise you don't want any unwanted movement when typing. From my experience with using this keyboard, I have found that the hinge and the stand are both very sturdy, and I have no problems with it slipping whatsoever. Moving on to the backplating of the iPad, unfortunately, unlike its predecessor, the 3.0, it doesn't have any padding against the iPad. However, from my use of taking it in and out of the backplating, I have not seen any blemishes on my iPad, so I guess it's not really that much of a deal. But unfortunately, it also does not have a cutout for the Apple logo, so you're stuck with the plain black matte finish. Then on the bottom of the keyboard, as well as on the top between the iPad face and the keyboard surface, there are these tiny little rubber bits that prevent the whole setup from slipping, as well as the keyboard from scratching the iPad screen, which is a plus. All of the ports and buttons on the iPad are easily accessible and unhindered, even though the microphone cutouts could be a little bit more precise. However, this might be just due to the fact that I have an iPad Air 2, which is slightly thinner than the original iPad Air. Now moving on to features. Now I think the primary selling point for this particular case is definitely the hinge. Not only is it able to rotate 360 degrees all around, it is also able to detach from the iPad, so you can use the iPad as a tablet if you would like. What this means is, say you want to show something that's on your iPad to somebody who's sitting across from you, all you have to do is swivel the display around like this. I also found that this mode is really helpful when I'm, say, playing guitar and I want the screen closer to me as opposed to a little bit farther from me when the keyboard's sitting in front of me. Also, I can detach the tablet all on its own if I wanted to, say, play it on a flat surface, or just wanted to hold it in a more portrait mode to read ebooks. What's missing on the Airbender Star here, as opposed to the Airbender 3.0, however, is the ability to have it in portrait mode while still being attached to the keyboard. But in all honesty, I'd really never used it in portrait mode while it's still attached to the keyboard. Usually if I did, I would just take it out of the stand anyway, so I don't think that's really much of a deal breaker. Now I'm going to bring up the hinge again, because one thing I definitely look for, especially in portable setups like this, is how well do the hinges hold up. When I press on the screen, does it have too much wobble? Is it secure enough? And for me, although there is a little bit of a wobble, that's really to be expected, but it's not enough to make me think that, oh, this is going to fall over or anything like that. And since that this hinge is firm enough and is friction based, I'm able to have my iPad in a multiple range of viewing angles. as long as it's able to support it along with its friction-based metal stand, then I have no problems. Now let's talk about the keyboard typing experience, which can definitely make or break a keyboard case. Typing on this, I found it to be very comfortable. I didn't have any problems missing keys, and I didn't feel any reduction in typing speed. And even though this is not a full-size keyboard, I didn't feel crammed in any way. Since this is made for the iPad, it definitely has a few iPad dedicated shortcuts here. So up here on the top row are some iPad specific function keys. So you have the home button, brightness controls, the on-screen toggle, as well as cut, copy, and paste, the playback controls, volume controls, and a function controlled lock button, which is good in case you accidentally hit the lock button when you wanted to press backspace. However, it also has the Mac command key here, which functions as you would expect with its Command X, Command C, and Command V for cut, copy, and paste, which is why, as I had mentioned in my previous reviews of Airbender cases, that I wish that new Trent had picked 3 different function keys to put on the top instead of the regular cut, copy, and paste, because you can already access those using keyboard shortcuts. Oddly missing, however, in terms of keyboard functions is the ability to switch between different keyboards, and this was present actually even in their Airbender 3.0 cases shown here, which is very strange that they would omit this in this iteration. The arrow keys and the shift keys are appropriately sized, no problems there. And then up here on the top are several LED indicators. We have the caps lock indicator, charging indicator, Bluetooth pairing indicator, and then right next to those are the connect button for Bluetooth, and then the on-off switch to toggle the Bluetooth for this keyboard. Pairing this was very simple and easy. You just press the connect button, let your iPad detect it, key in the code, and you're all set. Even when you turn it off and turn it back on, the pairing is very seamless and smooth. Battery life for this keyboard case will obviously vary based on use, but if you use it for maybe 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, say, if you're a student, then I think this would last maybe 3 weeks. Of course, if you really want to be safe, just charge it every other week. Also, when you close this, as you would for any laptop, there's a magnetic strip at the bottom of the keyboard which automatically sleeps the iPad and wakes it up when you open it, which is very convenient. However, one thing that's very inconvenient is this little rubber flap here that's supposedly used to close the iPad with the keyboard. However, I find it very unnecessary because there's enough force holding the iPad and the keyboard together that this little flap really isn't necessary. Otherwise, all the other features I mentioned are very good. And finally, the all-deciding factor is value. Is this worth your hard-earned money? At $37 currently on Amazon, it is very competitively priced. And just to give my final thoughts on this keyboard case, I have put all my pros and cons that I've listed throughout this video on the screen right now, but I have to say that I'm thoroughly impressed with this case, even more so than the Airbender 3.0, which I had heralded as the best Bluetooth keyboard case for the iPad Airs. The ease of use, the 360-degree rotation, and versatile screen angles makes this the superior case in my opinion. If you want to use your iPad as a productivity device, an extra monitor, a tablet, then this is the perfect case for you. Moving forward, I would love to see new Trent come up with a backlit version of this keyboard case, but for under $40 at this time, it's a steal. Go ahead and pick it up. I was given this product for review, however I do promise that it was done thoroughly and impartially. If you found it helpful, make sure to give it a like. And if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe to my channel Skyforce95 for more product unboxings and reviews. Thanks for watching.